was an OnlyFans model named Renee Gracie. She started out as a supercar racer, and she's having a documentary made about her that is being funded by the Australian government.
So she went from a racer to an OF girl?
Yes.
Because sometimes it's like you start as OF and then you move to something else.
No. She started her OF to fund her ability to get back into racing after injury.
That's really sad.
But she became like the highest grossing OnlyFans model of any woman in Australia. So it is a 2023 success story, if ever there was one, right?
It's so sad that, like, out of financial desperation, and like fear for survival, people started doing this.
Yeah. Well, and in a way, is the government not telling you that this is like the right thing to do if they're going to make a document? Yeah, it benefits them, but also
you pay them more in taxes. They don't have to give you any social safety net.
So it's called Revealed, and it's led by an all-female creative team. Of course, cool. I don't know how that's legal when they're hiring in their hiring practices, but maybe they were all the best woman for the job.
Promises to be a compelling story about exploitation, empowerment, and resilience.
So here's my question:
showcasing what women have to do to succeed in a male-dominated industry.
And that's a meatball in and of itself to talk about.
We use Renee's individual experiences to explore these themes and shed light on the challenges that women face in such industries.
Is the idea that women can only succeed in male-dominated industries if they sell their body on OnlyFans? Is that what I'm supposed to take from this?
Are they claiming the adult entertainment industry is that industry? Is the male-dominated industry?
No, they're saying that the racing industry is the male-dominated industry, and for her to succeed and get back to it, she would have to sell her body via OnlyFans.
I'm wondering where the exploitation is.
That's my actual question. I said she chose to do it. How is she being exploited?
Like, she had the choice to quit being a racer.
Yep.
Or to figure out some other hustle that she's able to make money in.
Yeah. So it says Renee Gracie began her career racing as a go-kart racing star and became the first female to compete in the Australian Porsche Carrera Cup in 2013 and 2014. After 2 seasons, she began professionally racing V8s and supercars and was the first full-time female competitor in the category in 14 years. In 2015, her Bathurst entry with Simona Di Silvestro was the first all-female combination to contest the great race since 1998. Despite breaking records and achieving such feats, Renee found herself struggling to make a place for herself in a heavily dominated male industry and eventually retired in 2017. Okay, so she didn't get injured. So she retired because she had a hard time getting ahead. And as we know, what they're saying here is that the only way to get ahead if you're a female is to what? Sell your body?
Sell pictures of your holes on the internet.
On the internet. Yeah, that's what they're saying. But
if anything, does that not exacerbate the problem of your, exploitation?
Yeah.
So-called, the stigma you face? Yeah. Doesn't that add more stigma?
Yeah. But also, like, who's exploiting who? She's making a business decision, and the product she's selling is herself.
It's interesting that a lot of these OF women talk about how we need to destigmatize sex work when, like, they are an example of, like, the lowest stakes version of sex work and have no ties or, relative common experience with actual prostitutes who, like, work the streets.
Is that like the grass is always greener? Like the women working the streets are like, I would love to be able to do what you're doing.
Yeah. Do you think that the actual, like, sex workers would want their industry destigmatized? Right? Like, they're like, are those because clearly they're not the outspoken activists talking about normalizing sex work.
No, they don't have the time, nor the platform to do so.
They're busy, selling access to their body to survive in this world.
If anything, they probably find that kind of infuriating that somebody else is taking some type of grandiose moral stance on something that they're doing just to survive.
And that is a microcosm of the entire industry, if you
Yep.
will even, like force it into one monolith.
Yeah. But also, like, for a lot of stuff like this, is like, is there going to be a documentary one day about the female-dominated porn industry that men have to fight to survive in, where they're selling their OnlyFans subscriptions for far less than the women are doing so, and then we can talk about the gender
gay
wage
men
gap
are
in
probably
then we can talk about the gender wage gap in porn.
gay men are probably getting more, or the same amount of.
That would be an interesting thing to figure out.
But I mean, well, actually, also like the porn industry, as far as the executives who are in charge of it, it is male dominated. Right?
Yeah.
Well,
it's
the performers are. Yeah, it's different because the performers are mostly female.
Yeah.
The females get paid more, but that's like.
But the majority of the money isn't being made by them; it's being made by the companies. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
profiting off of the content.
But do you think it's weird that that this would be funded by the government at all? Like, does it cause you concern that they would look at this as something worth highlighting?
I don't know. How are they funding it? Are they?
Is this part of the funding coming from the government and not the entirety of it?
Yeah, Screen Australia, which funds a bunch of documentaries, got like
head
a grant.
of documentary.
Yeah,
they have a head of documentary in this.
So Screen Australia got like a bunch of government funding to produce a bunch of documentaries over the next few years, which is where this is coming from.
So the head of documentary, Alex West, expressed pride in supporting.
Yeah.
Francis Elliott, Samantha Marlowe, and Cody Greenwood, saying that they have a proven track record crafting engaging documentaries, commended the upcoming documentary for shining a necessary light on gender inequality, stigma, and prejudice in sport and beyond.
So
sharing honest insights into Renee's empowering origin turned comeback story.
If somebody doesn't succeed, it isn't always prejudice or stigma. Sometimes you just don't succeed.
Yeah, I mean, was she a good racer?
Yeah. Like, she was apparently okay, but that's not the same thing. Like, in a competitive industry, I don't get it.
The fact that they're trying to spin this into some kind of happy ending for her life.
This is not happy looking. I mean, she's got a fake nose, fake lips, fake boobs. Big, huge hips. I don't know if those are fake hips in that picture. It's just disgusting.
Everything about her is fake. But she's not. Being. Where does the exploitation come in?
That's my honest question. How is she being exploited? Are we just removing any and all personal responsibility from a woman in the world to make her own choices?
She exploited her own body.
Yeah, she exploited herself.
She also has an incredible amount of expendable income if she's spending this much money on artificially constructing her body.
Yeah.
I try not to hate or to get frustrated or upset with people that do this to themselves, like that just cut themselves up and inject themselves, and oh God, but it's hard not to. Like if I meet them, I want to help them love themselves so that they stop injecting crap, botulism into their face. But at the same time, like watching it from a distance freaks me out. It's disgusting to show little kids that and make them think that this is what they're supposed to do.
Right, and that this is also like what appeals to people on OnlyFans.
It's so
like
fake. The boobs are so disgusting. That's just so.
And that's the world
human.
we're pushing towards, right? Like, as people see their bodies as a commodity that they invest money in because they're making their money in an industry like this, where you're using pictures, photos, videos of yourself, and that's your income stream. And they're told from a young age, like, look, it's never too early to start thinking about plastic surgery because there's problem areas you can look at. I don't remember what we were talking about last week. The myth of problematic areas, which you can start focusing on getting preemptive surgeries done to prevent yourself from aging. And then there was the article the other day about, what's her name, Daenerys Targaryen, Emilia Clarke, and like they're mad at her because she's not getting plastic surgery. And somebody
comes from different corners of the internet. Ones that say that it's condemnable to get all of these cosmetic procedures to be fake.
Yeah.
But then if you don't, you hit the wall, and but there's different people saying different things, and you're all like facing contradicting things, and you need to have like a sense of self in order to not listen to them. But
and that's what everyone was saying about Emilia Clarke. Like, why are people being mad at her for embracing her age and not artificially changing herself and embracing what she looks like as she gets older?
If anything, taking a selfie in like horrible lighting just shows how detached you are from caring.
That's awesome.
Like, that's a
in
good
a way.
thing,
In a way, yeah, that's awesome.
So why are you, negatively reinforcing that? But I think like an especially sinister part of this documentary coming out is that it's showing an opposite trajectory for OnlyFans. So like, you should go into different industries in order to pivot into OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Rather
Because
than
you bring the fan base
the
with
traditional
you to
structure, which is starting in OnlyFans and then using your platform or the money that you've made off of it to pivot into something else.
Most of the people are doing it the other. Most of the people are going to OnlyFans once they've built a fan base from a structure outside of that industry.
I saw this one interview from this girl who I think we talked about her on the show. She talked about, how she's done all of these disturbing things, like requests for videos on OnlyFans, and how like, she comes from this background of a bunch of trauma that made her like sexualize herself. And it's just obvious things that, you should probably assume if somebody thinks it's like a good idea to sell your body online. But she's trying to pivot into becoming like a boxer or some MMA fighter or whatever, which is a good thing. Like, find something else that you're passionate about, that you like doing, and take the money and run while you still can, even though it's too late. Those images and those videos are always going to be out there of you.
There's a female boxer who Ebony Bridges, who has like an OnlyFans.
It's a different one.
But Ebony Bridges, like, whenever she's like a world champion and advertises her OnlyFans when she does the weigh-ins, and she's famous for doing her weigh-ins in lingerie as like a way of like psyching out her opponent.
Yeah.
And selling her and promoting herself. So it's like to me, I'm not gonna hate on them for finding a way to. I know. Like, but for somebody like
why not?
For somebody like that who's very successful in another industry, hers seems to be that she has a problem with the fact that she's like wasn't able to reattain the same success and had to turn to OnlyFans to become successful. Right? She left one industry and joined another. Ebony Bridges is one who's like
if you're
doing
a construction
both.
worker who gets injured on the job, do you have the option to make an OnlyFans?
Suppose you do. It's just will it actually
get back
make you
on
any
your
money?
feet? I don't think so.
No. Yep.
It doesn't work all ways.
Somebody says only graphene in the chat. Only graphene.
Is that URL taken?
Going to be the number one
time to buy that
competitor.
One. Yep. The Russell says only graphene.
I was
we're gonna have to
wondering
how
much money has OnlyFans made in the last 3 years.
I'm guessing several $1 billion.
I'm shocked that not so long ago they had plans to make it a PG-13 platform.
They wanted to turn it into like regular like content with like content
like Patreon.
creators. Yeah.
And then they immediately went back on that.
Yeah.
It's just so much.
Decision,
900 million. Yeah, they made 900 million 2 years ago. It's so profitable. 20%. They make 20% on every transaction.
900 million at the height of the pandemic seems low to me.
But you can't like fund a comic book pitch.
No.
I'm so done with this like clown world we live in.
It's a double standard. Yeah. Oh, somebody mentions Mandy Rose. Yeah. Mandy Rose, basically, she got fired from WWE for making her OnlyFans like style content, right? And now she makes more money like per month than she was making. Like, she makes like in a month what she was making for WWE in a couple of months. She's very, very successful in the wrestling business. She was
just saw
NXT champ.
This random TikToker who makes like $350,000 a month.
That's what Mandy Rose was making on hers. Hers wasn't OnlyFans. It was like some other like alternative site. But if you're coming from,
when is the bubble gonna burst?
I don't know. Like, does the bubble?
And
I mean,
why is it?
I don't know if the bubble on sex work bursts. I don't.
But why is a woman's like nude photos or videos even like valuable anymore when it's
that's what people always say.
Available everywhere.
Oh, that's a good point with the deep fake porn industry on the horizon.
That too, but also just that anyone can leak what you've put on your OnlyFans, and there's free content everywhere.
But here's the thing. That's why you build up. That's why they want you to build up. That's why people want to build up their profile before doing it, because then it's not just about the fact that you're naked. It's the fact that you have a bankable persona before you do it.
Yeah, people want to support you no matter what you do, kind of thing.
So there's a novelty in the fact that you go from one industry to another, and your name had recognition and value before you started there. It's different, however, if you start in that industry and all you're known for is that. Right? So they're different things.
Someone said tons of simps out there.
Yeah, there is in a lot
of. It's like when the pickup artists out here on social media talk about how you should get married and settle down with children, but they're the exception. They have to continue running game.
Well, yeah, because they have to help you.
But the OnlyFans chicks are talking about how there are no good men around. Meanwhile, they have thousands of simps subscribed to their OnlyFans page.
Yeah.
Who are essentially undateable men.
Yeah.
Like, no woman with self-respect should be anywhere within a mile radius of these dudes who subscribe to OnlyFans, at all. Yeah. You're these are the people ruining dating right now for normal people.
At the very least, they're not doing their own lives any good by having a maladjusted idea of how to have a relationship with a woman.
Yeah, you could be investing that money in a girl. Yeah.
And this is personal, by the way. If any of you listening are subscribed to someone's OnlyFans page, just know you're undateable. That should...
What would be your advice for those people?
I mean, what can I say? If you want to live that pathetically, that's your choice. But, I mean, you're undesirable and undateable to any woman worth anything.
Do you think if they canceled their OnlyFans account, they'd be more dateable?
Well, yes. Yes,
and
on both sides,
and learn
the creators and the subscribers to them, all of them.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.